Good evening and welcome to the news roundup for Friday, February 24. I am Abigail Smythe. Among the stories in this evening's newscast, woman murdered moments after arriving home from church in Hanover. Elderly man shot and killed by licensed firearm holder at ATM in St. Anne. At least 20 children left homeless following early morning fire in St. Andrew. Farmer allegedly attacked and killed by his own pigs in St. Mary. In business, the Jamaican economy grew by over 5% for 2022. In the region, development happening at a rapid pace in Guyana. Government has no intention of stalling the process. Further overseas, U.S. announces new range of sanctions against Russia and new military aid for Ukraine. And in sports, Jamaica's Reggae Girls will play Panama in their second group game at the FIFA Women's World Cup.
Teach them! Always make sure the message reach them!
Now for the news in detail. 5 people, including a woman, are now in police custody following the seizure of 3 illegal guns and 24 rounds of ammunition on Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston, Thursday evening. The St. Andrew Central Police say the seizure was made during a vehicular checkpoint operation. Reports are that about 8:15 p.m., a motorcar with 5 people aboard was stopped for breaches of the Road Traffic Act. The vehicle was searched and one .357 Magnum with 6 rounds of ammunition, one 9mm Beretta pistol with 8 rounds of ammunition, and one Glock 17 pistol with 10 rounds of ammunition were reportedly found. A woman was murdered moments after she arrived home from church in Hanover Wednesday night. She has been identified as 54-year-old Paulette Baker Frame, a businesswoman of Cousins Cove in the parish. Reports are that Frame was dropped off at her gate by her brother after attending a church service. Frame reportedly stepped into her yard, at which point her brother drove off. The brother reportedly heard gunshots soon after. He reported to the police that he immediately called his sister's mobile phone but got no answer. Fearing the worst, he returned to her house where he found her lying on the ground outside, suffering from gunshot wounds. She was taken to hospital where she was pronounced dead. The Hanover police are investigating. An elderly man was killed by a licensed firearm holder during an altercation in Sentence Bay, St. Anne on Thursday. The deceased is 72-year-old Vincent Phillips of Bamboo in the parish. It is reported that about 8:40 p.m., several people were waiting outside an automated teller machine ATM on Bravo Street when Mr. Phillips approached and demanded to use the machine first. He reportedly hit some of the customers with a bag. A licensed firearm holder, who was also reportedly assaulted, pulled his weapon and shot Mr. Phillips. The wounded man was taken to hospital where he died while being treated. The firearm was seized.
They come make them not see when me turn. Who they try to catch now, they can't catch. Aye, over me we feel the captor apply. Soldiers in no move, me tell them bye-bye. Come in after me, well that is lens multiply. Ask me no question, me tell you no lie. Them destroy me green me, them gone with me dry. Right now me can't distribute no more supply.
A security guard who attempted to foil a robbery in Sentence Bay, St. Anne Friday morning was shot and injured by the thief. Police reports are that the incident occurred on Bravo Street in the vicinity of Sentence Bay Fire Station sometime after 9 o'clock. According to Deputy Superintendent of Police Linton Bailey, the thief, who escaped on a motorcycle, robbed a man of 690,000 Jamaican dollars and $1,000 US. Superintendent Bailey said the security guard saw what was happening and accosted the robber, but the armed assailant shot the guard in the abdomen before fleeing the scene. The victim of the robbery was unharmed. The security guard is being treated at hospital and investigations are ongoing. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in the Tucker community of Granville in St. James. The curfew began at 6 Thursday evening and will remain in effect until 6 Saturday evening. The boundaries of the curfew encompasses the Tucker Main Road, Chambers Drive, Granville Police Station, Sabrina's Seafood Place, and Fairfield Main Road. The police say during the hours of the curfew, all persons within its boundaries are required to remain remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized in writing by the ground commander. Wednesday night was a night of terror and saw residents cowering as gunshots rang out. 7 houses and 2 vehicles were damaged by fire. From as early as 9 p.m., lawmen say residents were forced to take cover as armed thugs fired indiscriminately on sections of the community. Firefighters who responded to calls that a house and car were on fire were forced to flee because of heavy gunfire. They later returned after a strong contingent of police arrived and order was restored. However, by then, 4 houses had been totally ravaged in the blaze, while 3 others had been partially damaged. A Toyota Voxy was totally gutted in the Inferno, while a Nissan 80 wagon motor car was partially damaged. There were no reported deaths or injuries. According to a senior police officer, the attack is believed to be in retaliation for Tuesday's murder of 2 men in the nearby community of Granville. 24-year-old Rexford Jarrett and another man were fatally shot around 2:30 p.m. in a section of that community called Gut Bottom. The police have vowed to maintain order in the area. 30 people were detained on Thursday during a major police military operation in Lennox Big Woods, Westmoreland. 2 illegal guns, including a high-powered rifle and assorted ammunition, were seized in the operation. Deputy Superintendent of Police Dwight Brown, attached to the Special Operations Branch, says the operation was aimed at capturing gang members linked to a surge in violence in Westmoreland and other parishes. It is believed that some of the detainees are behind a series of armed robberies in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, which have targeted supermarkets, shops, and automated banking machines or ATMs. DSP Brown notes that criminals are migrating to quiet areas to carry out their heinous activities. He is urging residents of rural communities to reach out to the police whenever they see strange people in their areas. At least 20 children have been left homeless following an early morning fire in Standpipe, St. Andrew. It is understood that the fire began about 2:30 Friday morning in the tenement dwelling. It is understood that 8 houses and 3 businesses were destroyed in the blaze. While some residents were able to save appliances and clothing, others lost all personal belongings. Fire units from the York Park, Halfway Tree, and Trenchtown fire stations responded to the blaze. The cost of the damage is not yet known, and the cause of the fire is being investigated. The Orocabessa police in St. Mary are investigating the death of a farmer whose body was found with wounds to the face in close proximity to one of his pig pens on Thursday. He is 58-year-old Radcliffe Martin of a Jacks River address in Orocabessa. A police report states that a man went to visit Martin on his farm shortly after 7:30 Thursday morning and reportedly saw the body of the farmer lying close to a pig pen. The police were called, and upon their arrival, it was revealed that the now deceased had blood oozing from his face along with visible wounds. Upon close examination of the scene, the lawmen also reportedly discovered that at least 2 of the animals had traces of blood on their mouths and were showing signs of aggression. A resident who gave his name only as Raphael claims the farmer was attacked and bitten by some of the pigs. Despite the speculation by residents, the police have not yet determined the cause of death. The PNP Caucus of Councillors has added its voice to those criticizing the Holness administration over its decision to postpone the local government elections for a 4th time. On Tuesday, the government used its majority to push legislation through the House of Representatives, delaying the polls for another year. At a press briefing on Thursday, the PNP councillors lashed the government for the disregard shown to the country's democracy.
We deemed it a travesty when the government conjures excuses that are seemingly baseless and inconsistent with what is reported by the said government. The nation was made to believe that due to budgetary constraint, an election could not be held after the said administration indicated that revenue collected by way of our tax dollars surpassed the estimated target by $80 billion.
The 4th postponement of local government is appalling, and it's a breach of the democratic process. What this further postponement has done is depriving the people of the right to choose. The government has been using its majority in Parliament to hold on to state power.
The Jamaica Labour Party found out that we are more prepared than them for the local government election. And hence, that is the reason why they are postponing it. They want us to get relaxed in the whole thing. But I can tell them that we won't relax. We are going to step up our campaign going forward, and when they choose to call it, we'll be more prepared. They also have done their polls and found out that they are going to lose and lose badly. That is the reason why they are postponing the election.
The general elections are constitutionally due by 2025, having been last held in September 2020. Councillor Barneswell says the scant regard shown to local government over the years is another reason for the introduction of fixed election dates. The PNP councillors note that there are several vacancies in the municipal corporations which hamper the ability to meet the needs of residents. Former wealth advisor at Stocks and Securities Limited SSL, Jean-Anne Panton, was further remanded in custody after she was denied bail in the Supreme Court on Friday. The case will again be mentioned on April 19, and a plea and case management hearing was also set for June 15. During her first court appearance last week, Ms. Panton was remanded to give her attorney, Tamika Harris, time to provide an additional medical report to the court for a decision to be made on whether her client will be offered bail. When the matter was called up Friday morning, Ms. Harris, in urging the court to grant her client bail, reiterated that Ms. Panton is not a flight risk. Ms. Harris, in her part-heard application, told the court that the additional medical report, which was required last week to support her claim, stated that Ms. Panton has been suffering from illnesses for some time. Justice Lorna Shelley Williams, in denying the bail application, noted that neither the additional document, the affidavit containing newspaper clippings and photo explaining her illness, nor the medical report addresses anything that will prevent Ms. Panton from being in custody. Jean-Anne Panton is charged with 3 counts of larceny as a servant, 5 counts of forgery, 5 counts of uttering forged documents, 3 counts of falsification of an account, 3 counts of engaging in a criminal transaction, and 3 counts of breaching the Cybercrimes Act. She is accused of fleecing more than $10 million and 90 million Jamaican dollars. In business, the Planning Institute of Jamaica, PIOJ, says the Jamaican economy grew by over 5% for calendar year 2022. That's compared to calendar year 2021. Growth was led by the services industries at 6.1%. Tourism, as represented by hotel and restaurants, grew by 49% for the period. This was followed by growth in the other services category at 11%. All other categories for the services industries grew between 5 and 0.3%. On the goods and producing side, the economy grew by 2.1%. Agriculture was the standout performer for the year, growing by 9% in 2022 compared to 2021. This was followed by manufacturing, which climbed by 6%. However, growth in the goods producing industries was stymied by declines in mining and construction of 32% and 2.2% respectively. In the region, Guyana's president, Dr. Irfan Ali, says development is happening at a rapid pace in the country and notes that his government has no intention of stalling the progress. Addressing a function in the capital, Georgetown, earlier on Thursday to mark the 53rd anniversary of the country becoming a cooperative republic, Dr. Ali hailed Guyana's emergence as an energy hub, major food producer, and industrial powerhouse. Guyana made the decision to become a republic in 1970, 4 years after it gained independence from British rule. On the international scene, the United States has marked a year since Russia invaded Ukraine by announcing a new range of sanctions against Russia and new military aid for Ukraine. The latest restrictions target more than 100 entities, both within Russia and worldwide, including banks and suppliers of defense equipment. Specifically, the U.S. says it wants to stop those helping Russia from exploiting loopholes to get sanctioned materials. The White House's fresh round of aid for Ukraine is worth $2 billion. And in sports, Jamaica's Reggae Girls will play Panama in their second group game at the FIFA Women's World Cup. This after their fellow CONCACAF nation booked their spot at the FIFA showpiece with a 1-0 win over Paraguay in the final of the Interconfederation playoff on Wednesday. For the first time in World Cup history, the CONCACAF region will have 6 representatives. Panama now joins Jamaica, Brazil, and France in Group F, with the Reggae Girls' first game coming against France on July 23 at the Sydney Football Stadium. The Reggae Girls will then take on Panama on July 29, almost 5 years after the Jamaicans edged out their rivals on penalties in the CONCACAF Championship third-place playoffs. This year's World Cup, starting on July 20, will be the first edition to feature 32 teams up from 24. Jamaica will play all their group games in Australia. And that's it for your news roundup for today and for this week. I am Abigail Smythe. Have a great weekend and see you next time.
Teach them! Hey, yo, hello! Send the message and make it reach them. It's Teach Them. Right here, Warlord representing.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Teach them!